Hey everybody, time for a little bit of a Monday hobby update. I got a bunch of little things to cover here. First of all, sorry if there's noise in the background. It's very hot today, so I got the air conditioner going on full blast. So if it gets annoying, sorry about that. First of all, this is what I kind of been working on slowly. Oh, there's the bad lighting again. I keep forgetting to light up into the, there we go. Projection value second to none. So anyway, we got bikes and dudes I'm working on. Again, these are going very slowly because I've just been doing kind of other things. And they're just getting kind of tedious actually. I thought they'd be pretty easy, but they're not. Actually, as easy as I remember them being. Anyway, hopefully I can get some of these guys done because I really want to see what these look like with the with those banners on there all done up. So there's the first thing I got going on. Second thing, where are they? There they are. So that, and we got these. You know what these are, of course, 32mm bases. You know, the debate's going to rage on forever about whether or not you should rebase the 32mm. I can't tell you how much I don't want to. I've just got so many infantry models. It's not even, I mean, hundreds of infantry models that are already painted and been based for 2.5 decades. Well, not quite, but at least 2 decades. And the idea of rebasing all those just blows my mind. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to rebase the unit that I'm playing with in my freebooters list to start with, and just to see how that goes. And I think I'm just going to use my terrain stamps and just roll out giant sheets of Sculpey, bake them, and then glue them to as many bases as I can and glue models to those, just to see what happens and how easy it really is. Plus these guys, of course, are also on their new bases, so they're going to get basing on them. So I think I'll just use lots and lots of Sculpey bases for that unit and for the bikes as I do them. And it's going to be kind of an experiment to see how easy or not easy it is to actually do it. And the question is if I want to pin all of them, and that's the part I'm really hesitant about, because that'd be a lot of work to pin all of those models. So they might just get glued straight down to the Sculpey and see what happens. So yeah, I got bases. So I painted the mech specials for the buggies. Probably won't use them, but they will go into my bits area. So Saturday night I spent because Saturday nights I go to the game store so my kids can play Pokemon card game. So I usually end up either playing a game or working on hobby stuff while watching Netflix. This Saturday, instead of working on the bikes, I was doing repairs. I had a bunch of grots to repair, and this guy. So this is one of the old metal rent herds. They weren't called rent herds at the time, of course. And he needed both repair, as the gun and the thingy were broken off, and he also needed touching up, as everything was, and he's metal, so a lot of it was chipped. That's the other thing, is rebasing these metal models, because I think the only slotted 32mm bases are from Blood Bowl, and you can't get them any other way. So yeah, that's something to think about. Just cutting the tabs off all the metal models you have. I've got quite a few. Anyway, so I spent an hour or so fixing this up. So I repaired everything, cut off all the old dead super glue, glued it back together, and then touched up, rewashed, and varnished this guy. If I would have had a 32mm base with me, I probably would have transferred him to that at the time, but I just didn't have one with me there. So what I did was I decided to try out this stuff, the Technical Storm Shield. I've been using a bottle of Vallejo flat varnish or matte varnish, but it's just about gone. So instead of buying one of those, I decided to buy one of these to try it out. And overall, it's not too bad. It went on pretty clean. So one thing I didn't like about the Vallejos, there always seemed to be like brush strokes in the varnish. Never really went on smooth, no matter what I did. And yeah, you could definitely tell that it had been varnished by the brush as opposed to the spray. when I used it. This stuff's not so much. It came out pretty well. It is slightly satiny. It's not perfectly flat, like I would expect from dull coat, but it's not too bad. It turned out pretty good. So anyway, I have this guy has not seen the table in forever. So basically, I spent most of my hobby time this week on a model that I hasn't seen the table for 5 years and probably will never see the table again. Just so it looks good. And that's what happens with this hobby, right? You just kind of do something like, I want to do that for no particular reason. So this stuff seems to be okay. I'll keep it in my arsenal. Bikes are being worked on, but of course when I do a whole model it's going to get the dull coat. Let's see, what else did I want to pick up? Is I picked up something on a hobby store. I happened to walk by a hobby store I'd never been to before, and they had this on their clearance shelf. I'm going to back up a little bit. It's a Hughes 500 egg plane from Hasegawa, and it just looked cool. You know, helicopters always want to look out for stuff for loot when you're playing orks, and especially these engine pods really caught my attention. And it's not quite, I kind of googled to see how big it was, see if I could use it as a basis for a warcopter. That's a little too small for that. Here it is. Just gonna get it out of the bag. It's not like I need preserver. I think this cost me like $3 on clearance. Something really stupid like that. Okay. So yeah, that's how big it is. You know what? Let me get back to this guy here. This would not make a bad Defcopter. You simply, you know, I'd probably replace this with a flat piece of plastic, move the seat over, and just have an ork sitting here. You could use the window if you wanted to, or just replace it with strips. You know, that would not be a bad Defcopter. This rotor is just about the perfect size of the old Black Reach Defcopter kit. And those engine pods are just cool bits. I'm sure I'm going to use them somewhere. And whatever the thing is on top of the rotor, I think it's probably some sort of surveillance. Being a Hughes 500, I think it's probably some sort of surveillance unit, camera or radar or something. It's also going to be a cool bit. So those are going to be some nice bits to use in the future. But yeah, I think this would not make a bad Defcopter. Just put some guns on it. And it's just about the right size, I think. There's only like a dozen parts. So I'm not really into the whole helicopter Defcopter thing. I much prefer the looted Eldar jet bikes for my Defcopters. So it's not something that I'm excited to do, but again, this was a kit I picked up for almost nothing that I'm sure will be useful someday down the line. And it's just, I mean, it's just a cool little kit. And I think the cockpit in the inside of the helicopter is the perfect size to actually hold an ork. And yeah, so pick that up. Said always keep an eye out for stuff like that when you're. There's some bright sun there coming in, and so always keep an eye out for stuff like that when you're playing orks, because you never know what might be useful and what might not be. So yeah, that's about it for this little hobby update this week. Let me know what you think below, if you've used the Storm Shield yet. I mean, it's a new product. It seems to be okay to me. And hopefully I can get some more. Oh, I also had to do some repairs to the Gorkanaut. Don't want to think that. I have a bunch of broken bits off of that that needed repair. So yeah, there are lots of repairs this week of broken ork bits. And some grots, this guy, Gorkanaut. And yeah, I think I rambled on long enough. That's going to be it for this video. And I'll talk to you guys later.